Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. Here is where you will be seeing me from now on the channel. I have a nice little corner here in my basement. That is my new recording space, properly set up in booktube fashion with some books behind me, most of which are fantasy. I'll be doing a quick little book tour here in a moment, but just wanted to welcome you to the space that I will be in when I do just myself on a video, doing a review or what have you. This will probably be the default view. I'll probably tweak it, fool around a little bit, but more or less something like this. And when I am in a discussion, I will be talking to people on this screen right here, and so you'll have a different view of whatever is right behind me, looking at books, which is sort of more of the normal thing on BookTube. So yeah, this is my little space. I will be out of the way of my family from now on. I won't be interrupting lunch or what have you upstairs. This is my very own space that I can come into whenever I like. So I figure you might want to see the books I have here all set up, and so I'll give you a quick little bookshelf tour. Okay, so beginning here, we have the poster appropriately positioned. So that I thought would be a nice little thing to have along. And now let's take a look at these shelves. They are, by the way, alphabetical, and I have mixed everything in. I don't feel like I should be distinguishing between self-published and traditionally published, so you will just find all the fantasy together, and beginning with the A's. So you have Thiago Abdallah's two of his books there. I have read the first one, really enjoyed it a lot. And there is Joe Abercrombie, First Law, some of my very favorite stuff. And Daniel Abraham, Long Price Quartet, what a great shelf. And I've never talked about this on the channel, but I did read Children of Blood and Bone quite some time ago, before I started the channel. There's a book I can't wait to get into, Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. And another great self-published author, Carl Albert. Amish, I've read only the first one in that trilogy. Someday I'll get to the rest. And there's R. Scott Baker. And I have the rest of the Prince of Nothing trilogy down here. This, by the way, these will be shifting as I acquire new books. And as actually you can see, only 2 of the Books of Babel are there. My daughter currently has the first 2. So I only have 3 and 4 with me at the moment. A little bit of Terry Brooks. There is Dresden up to the point where I have read. So obviously I will be acquiring a lot more of those. I do have another bookshelf that I have to put together. So I will have space for expansion. Octavia Butler. I'm gonna read that at some point soon, I think. And we've got J.R. Carroll's books. I read the first one, More Than a Vampire. Talked to him on the channel. City of Brass. Oh, look at this author here. Aha. Well, I suppose I had to put my own books there, right? And they're in very good company, I think, with Susanna Clark's Piranesi next door. I don't have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I read it during a time in my life when I was not buying books, and I borrowed it from the library. Quite a few, actually, that I'll be mentioning in that context. But I did get one of the first books, trilogies that I bought, and I realized there are more to the Black Company than that, but the first trilogy of the Black Company, I got those shortly before starting the channel, I think. And a little bit of Samuel Delany, and there is No Heart for a Thief, book 1 of Malitu. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, James, by James Doolin. And moving on down a shelf here, we have an oldie here, E.R. Edison's The Worm of Ouroboros, next to you know who. And oh, I should apologize to any of you who have book OCD, because as you're about to find out, this could be very jarring for you if you mind that sort of thing. I have all kinds of different sizes in several of the series that I have, so my apologies. But I do have my Erickson here. There's the Carcanis books and the Malazan Book of the Fallen, all the way up to the Crippled God there, and then the God is Not Willing. And all the way over, we start to see some of the Esselmont. I think it's kind of cool that Erickson and Esselmont ended up right next to each other alphabetically. So that's awesome. And more Malazan down here with the rest of the Esselmont books, including his Path to Ascendancy. And there's an old one I read a long time ago, Magician by Raymond Feist. And Daughter of the Empire by Feist and Jenny Wirtz. I just went with the author who was listed first there. I have my Jenny Wirtz books elsewhere, as you'll see. There's a wonderful little anthology edited by BookTube's very own Jeremy Fee. And I have a foreword in there, which is really cool, I think. A bunch of great authors contributed to that collection. And there's Christopher Flies by the God's Ears, which I have reviewed for the channel. Neil Gaiman! I'll be reading more of The Sandman shortly, I hope. Ocean at the End of the Lane and American Gods. Some David Gemmell, legend. I need to read the next two. And I think it's appropriate that John Gwynne is right next to David Gemmell. So there are the 4 books in The Faithful and the Fallen, and book 1 of the sequel trilogy of Blood and Bone. And then down here we have books 2 and 3, along with The Shadow of the Gods and The Hunger of the Gods. And yes, that is an arc of The Shadow of the Gods that I have. I want to buy the actual book as well. A book by Micah Harris, which I'm excited to read. That is The World Queen Awakens. And it is part of the Agents of the Runestone Ring trilogy, Volume 1. So I'm looking forward to that. And then there's The Elven, which I read and talked about on the channel, translated from German by Bernhard Hennen. Elven Winter, which I have not read. Meant to read it a long time ago. There's Dune. And here we start with Robin Hobb. And again, apologies to those with you with book OCD, but I have all kinds of different editions here. My apologies. And I have some manga at the bottom. I have more Hobb at the top here because I wanted to show off the special ones that I have, but I do want to show you while I'm down here. Vinland Saga up to where it is, and the first bits of Vagabond. And oh, there's an extra copy of Malice. So let's go back up here, and there's more Robin Hobb. All Realm of the Otherlings. And we finish with the final trilogy there. Again, these are going to shift around, but for now, I just kind of slapped them up here in alphabetical order. And there's that beautiful special edition, which Joanna and Alan and Jimmy got for me. I love those books. Some beautiful illustrations inside. And Michael Jackson's Ringlander. I did review that. Also talked with the author. N.K. Jemison's Broken Earth trilogy. Great stuff. And I need to read this for Evie. The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. I only have the first 2 of the Wheel of Time books. That was when I was going to the library a lot. So I just got the first 2. And Stephen King's Dark Tower, which finishes down here. And some more great self-published authors. The Return of the Knights by Gregory Contaxis, and The Sword of Mercy and Wrath by N.C. Kousis. Let me make sure his name shows there. Beautiful. And there's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, as well as Babel. Haven't read Babel. Got that from Joanna, actually. And The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. I enjoyed that one very much. And here's a favorite of mine. Mark Lawrence. I don't have all his books yet, but I will be acquiring more soon. I have 3 of his trilogies. The first 3 chronologically, I believe. And then The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and that is an arc of that as well. And I will be buying that trilogy eventually. And speaking of trilogies, here is The Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. And I just finished Jade War. We'll be in a conversation on it very soon. with Bookborn and Made Between the Pages and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network. So very excited about that. And I think Taylor is going to be hosting that one. So be on the lookout for that on Made Between the Pages. And one of my favorites of all time, Ursula Le Guin. So I have the Hainish novels in 2 volumes, and I have the complete collection of the Earthsea books right here. And a classic in C.S. Lewis, another classic. I have the Space Trilogy and the Narnia Chronicles. And also, there's Nicholas Lietzau's Dreams of the Dying, a great, great self-published book. Enjoyed it very much. Scott Lynch, The Lies of Locke Lamora, and the other 2 of the Gentleman Bastard sequence. Daniel Maidman's The Exile of Zanzibar. I'm looking forward to reading that one. And we got some George R. R. Martin here. You can see that my copies of A Song of Ice and Fire are pretty beat up, and that is because they are very well read. I also do have read A Knight of Seven Kingdoms. I also read the history stuff, Fire and Blood, Blood and Fire, I forget what it's called. But I don't own that. I borrowed it from the library. And there's the last of Martin. And we have a little bit of Anne McCaffrey here, along with, here's some more wonderful self-pub. We got Jeff McIntyre's The Garden Gnome and Andrew Meredith's Deathless Beast. Also, Michael Michel's The Price of Power. All 3 of these I am so excited to read. Next to China Mieville's Perdido Street Station and Gaurav Mohanty's Sons of Darkness. I have reviewed Sons of Darkness. It was on a nice discussion that was on Joanna's channel, along with the author and some wonderful people. So yeah, I've got a little bit of Moorcock there. I need to get more of his books. That's just a random thing I somehow got. And there is William Morris. And this is the fellow that I wrote my dissertation on. And he is one of the very earliest fantasy writers, especially in terms of writing about a created world. Very much inspired Tolkien. So without William Morris, there would be no Tolkien. Those are his prose romances, as they called them back then. And there's another great self-pub author, Richard Nell. Loved Kings of Paradise. Need to read the other 2. Naomi Novik. I read that before starting the channel. And we've got Terry Pratchett. I really want to get into some more Discworld next year. And Bob the Wizard by M.V. Prindle. That's the old cover. He's got a newer cover out. All right, some Philip Pullman. I don't have the complete trilogy, just the first book. I think that was a freebie. But I loved that trilogy. I checked it out at the library. And his Dark Materials, by Philip Pullman. Good stuff. And there's Michael Roberti's The Traitors We Are. Along with Von Roycroft's 2 books in the Sundered Nation trilogy, The Severing Sun and Bold Ascension. And I'm going to be talking with Vaughn very, very soon about his release, Bold Ascension. And there's Patrick Rothfuss, The Name of the Wind, Wise Man's Fear, and The Slow Regard of Silent Things. I really enjoyed those books a lot. And don't really know if I'll ever get to read the 3rd book, Doors of Stone. One of the big mysteries in the fantasy genre. Okay, there is Sophia Samatar's A Stranger in Olandria. That is one I really do want to cover for the channel. And some Brandon Sanderson. What would be a fantasy collection without Brando Sando? So I do have the Mistborn trilogy, read it, enjoyed it. And the first 4 books, and again, sorry, they are so weird. I've got I've got a trade paperback, I've got 2 mass markets, and I've got 1 hardcover. So just to annoy everybody as much as possible. And there is, again, all kinds of different sizes of the Witcher books. The first, the 2 short story collections and the first 2 novels I have only. And then I have a couple books by Michael Schultheis here. And there are 3 more, actually, that I have up on top. So I will move on up there momentarily so that you can see Michael's, the rest of his books. here they are. So he's got 5 books out in this series, which I am looking forward to delving into. V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic, which I did review for the channel. Seeds of War by João Silva. And I have his novella, Ruins of Smoke, right next to it. Nice little short story collection. Robert Silverberg edited Legends, among other stories in there, or novellas. The prequel story for Wheel of Time is in there, actually. I think before Jordan expanded it. Something about spring. I can't remember the title at the moment, but it's in that book. David Singh's Dead Boy's Game and The Broken Vow, which I did review for the channel. Jeff Spates' Paladin Unbound I reviewed. I haven't yet read the second book in Jeff's series, Mystic Reborn. And P.L. Stewart. There is P.L. Stewart's first 2 books in the Drowned Kingdom series. I have read and reviewed A Drowned Kingdom. Loved it. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Mary Stewart. Spelled differently from the way P.L. spells it, but yeah, she, oh man, that's the Arthurian series that she wrote with, starting with the Crystal Cave with Merlin as the main POV. Or I think it's a narrator, if I remember correctly. And then here's my Tolkien stuff. And there's just a ton of this, going way back. So I have a lot of Tolkien stuff, and you can see my daughters have done some damage to the jackets of my old books when they were little. Yes, if you have kids, don't let them near your bookshelves. These jackets are entirely gone on these books, but the books are still there. More Tolkien. There's The Hobbit. And a couple editions. 3 different ones of Lord of the Rings. You can never have too many editions of Lord of the Rings. And When Shadows Grow Tall by Marissa Voss. That's a book that I recently got from the author. Very excited to try it out. It is not self-published. It is, I think, an indie press, perhaps. And then we have some Tad Williams, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. I read that long before probably even BookTube existed. Before YouTube existed, even. Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Have reviewed it for the channel. And there we have The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham, one I'm really looking forward to. Recently finished and talked about Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun. There are the 2 omnibuses there. And a series that I'm getting really more and more excited about here. Well, I've got the standalone by Jenny Wirtz, To Ride Hell's Chasm. And then I've got the books of the Wars of Light and Shadow by the one and only Jenny Wirtz. And I am loving this series. And then I have Lord of Light. That's the last by Zelazny of the fantasy sci-fi stuff. And then I've got some medieval stuff, which I don't know if you guys are that interested in, but I had to put my medieval stuff somewhere. And it is definitely, in my case, very much a part of my love of fantasy, is related to my love of mythology and medieval literature. So it's hard for me to separate those things. There's a dissertation I wrote on William Morris, along with Morris's translations of Icelandic sagas with Eiríkur Magnusson. That's an original edition from the 1890s. And some more saga stuff, Icelandic stuff. Some of it is in Old Norse. There's including a dictionary that I used when I was translating from Old Norse. And starting with my Beowulf stuff, including the Tolkien translation and the Tom Shippey translation, which I recently read and had the opportunity to talk to Tom Shippey about on the channel. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out, because Shippey is a wealth of wisdom, not only in medieval literature, but he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, living Tolkien scholar. That was a really fun conversation. And more Beowulf. You can never have too many editions of Beowulf. And lots of Old English stuff, medieval literature, stuff that I use a lot as a grad student. This is a beautiful book right here, the Riverside edition of Chaucer. It's all of Chaucer's stuff. And more more medieval stuff. Lots of medieval stuff. And we'll finish that. Also, a shelf I didn't show you before, but I have some little extras that are really actually kind of cool books. I have a signed edition that my wonderful nemesis got me of Stephen Erickson's The God Is Not Willing. That is a favorite. I also have a signed edition of The Wisdom of Crowds that Alan sent me. And I have a Ark of the Severing Sun. I have an extra copy of Fool's Errand. Let me know if you need it. The copy I have above is the one that Joanna gave me, and this was one that I had. I already bought it or something, I think. But anyway. And then I have some other cool stuff like Grimm's Fairy Tales and some myths, like some old epics like the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Aeneid, the Kalevala, the Upanishads. So lots of myth and stuff. Tales from the Arabian Nights, some Joseph Campbell stuff. So all of that was very, I would say, crucial for me as a reader and a writer. And I also have another bookshelf that I will be putting up. I have some more manga actually that I haven't yet set up. So there will be more to all of this in the future. And as I said, I'll be adding to these shelves periodically as well. But that's about what you'll be seeing for the moment. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming along on my little tour. And I look forward to future videos where I'll be talking to you from this spot. And hopefully we'll have lots of great conversations to come. Until next time.